Layering synth and sampler parts in most DAWs requires multiple tracks. Let's take a look at how live racks can be used to combine multiple instruments and effects into a single device capable of delivering complex sounds on a single track. So there are existing presets that are instrument racks. If I go up into the Instruments category here in the Live Devices browser, you'll see that there's an instrument rack folder right here at the top. I'll go into one of these subfolders and I'll grab one of these presets and drop it out here. And I know that this is a rack because I see the macro that's part of this, and we'll talk about macros in a later video. And if I click on the Show Hide Chain list, actually in this one there's only one virtual instrument, but there's probably more effects that are a part of this if I drag this over. Yeah, we can see that there's a reverb and chorus, but these instrument racks can also include multiple virtual instruments. So let's go to this first MIDI track, and I'm going to drag an empty rack into the Drop MIDI Effects area on that track. And then from there, I can go down and choose some presets. So I'm going to go into the electric category, and let's grab this Keys 4AM. And let me show the list again. So I see the Keys 4AM, and now I can add multiple virtual instruments or effects down here by dropping them in that area. So let me scroll down. Let's see, I'll go into Operator and into SynthPad and click on Snowpad preset and drag and drop that into the instrument rack. So now I've got two virtual instruments happening simultaneously. And if I hold down some keys, we should hear the sounds. I see signal coming out both of those, so I know that they're both working. Now I can mix these together by using this volume feature here, and I'm going to bring the pad down in level so that I hear more of the key road sounds and less of that overall pad. Now if I want, I can hear those individually by either muting one of those. So there's just the keys part now. Or I can solo them as well by clicking on this button over here. So now I should just hear the Snowpad sound, which is much softer because I mixed it down. I can also pan those right by dragging up and left by dragging down. So you should now hear one on one side and one on the other. Actually, let me take that solo off. There you go. And you can see in the meters, it's only coming out one side on both of those. I'm going to move over to this instrument track that I've got here. Let me record enable that one. And I've got actually 3 parts loaded on this one, so we're a little bit further in here. So I've got the Rhodes part again. And I've got an operator patch, kind of mellow. And I've got a kind of a strings thing that's mixed in. Now, one of the things that's different about instrument racks is I get these 2 other areas that we didn't see in the video on audio effect racks. So one of those is for a key zone editor. And I get these bar graphs that define which notes on the keyboard are going to trigger these sounds. So I, for instance, could locate the Rhodes so that it's down here just up to C2, and then this next patch could take over at C2 and go to C3. And I'm just moving my cursor to the edge of those bar graphs and dragging. And I could grab this last one and make that about C3 all the rest of the way up. So now if I play down here on the bottom of my keyboard, I'm triggering only the Rhodes sound, and you see signal only in the Rhodes meter here. If I go up an octave, I'm in the next patch, and up another octave. Since I've got both of those a little bit overlapping, it's actually triggering both of those sounds. Again, this narrower graph that's on top will allow me to set fades. So if these were a little bit overlapped, more like this, I could set a crossfade by dragging on that narrower bar graph on top, and then on the one below, dragging that over to the right, so that you can see that those are now cross-fading between each other. So when I get right there on that C2, down below that, you can see that I'm triggering both parts. Okay, let me make those all back over here. We need to drag that. This way we can go on and we can check out the velocity settings. So a similar area is this velocity zone editor. Now I can set what patches are triggered out of these 3 sounds here by how hard I hit the keyboard. Let's make the Rhodes go up to about 80. And then I'll take these other two, I'll select their names so that I can do them together, and I'll drag those over to 81. Okay, so now that I have the velocity zone set, I should be able to hear just the Rhodes part when I play softly, and when I play the keyboard harder, I should trigger these other two presets. Let's give that a shot. So I play lightly, and then I play a little harder, I'll get the other two presets. Now that might be a really good thing to use, for instance, when you've got a bass preset and you want to only have that in the low range of the keyboard, and then if you've got more of a piano sound or pad sound or string sound, you might want that only in the upper part of the keyboard. But let's take a look at how we can add effects to instrument rack as well. Now, let me hide that by clicking on the hide button, and I'm going to hide the devices as well because I want to see this area over here. So let me click over here in the Live Devices browser, and I'm going to close these by pressing my left arrow key because I want to get down here and I want to see the audio effects. So if I open that up and scroll down, I can find something like a reverb that I might add to all three of these effects. So if I grab, for instance, the concert hall and drag it over here, what happens is the signal will pass through the track, the MIDI signal, and then it will hit these three presets and trigger the sound. And then the audio will flow out of all three of these and then through the concert hall. Now, whenever you use something like a delay or reverb where you've got a dry-wet setting and you use it on a rack in this case, you need to make sure that you dial in the amount of the effect that you want. Otherwise, you're just going to get all reverb. So let's play a little bit and let me dial that in. Okay, that's okay. And in other cases, you may want to add an effect that only affects a single member of the group. So I'm going to go into my audio effects again, and let me find a chorus preset. And I'm going to drag and drop that only on the Rhodes. So in this case, what's happening is we see that I've got the Rhodes patch here, and then next to that, I see the chorus effect. And if I drag that over, we can see that that's where the rack ends, meaning that this effect is only on that particular preset as part of this rack. It's not affecting the other two presets. Let me close that by double-clicking on the title bar, and let's drag that over so we can see a little bit more. So we can see that I've got the key Rhodes preset selected, and that's in here that's been minimized, and then I see that effect, and then the rack closes. And then over in this other area, I still see the concert hall. But that's situated so that as the signal passes out of the rack, then it hits the concert hall. So I should be able to solo the Rhodes part, and we should hear that with chorus. Let me turn off the reverb so we don't hear that. And now if I solo the operator and undo the Rhodes, you can hear that there's no chorus on there. So creating interesting combinations of sounds and effects using live racks seems simple, and the possibilities are endless. Experiment and have fun.